So, everybody, welcome here to a brand new series. We will be bringing back the MLB Time Capsule on YouTube as going through NFL. We will be covering Major League Baseball as well. Once the championship series starts, we will be covering the series in that. But welcome to a brand new one. It's called College Football Flashback. Now, there have been many seasons of college football starting all the way back in 1869. So for this video, we're going to cover the first two seasons, and I'm going to come up with a way to structure this for people. That way it's easy to understand what was going on back then and all of that. And this will give me groundwork for future videos that we will do. Also, I will be doing this too on Twitch, so all of you can stop by and watch it on there. I should have a video similar to this up tomorrow on Twitch for college football, but let's get right into it. Here it is, College Football Flashback here on Sports Talk Live on YouTube. Let's go. And we are back here. So, folks, let's jump right in here. So, 1869, we had the first two programs ever established, which was Rutgers and Princeton. Yes, those two programs started the whole craze of college football. It was the first season of intercollegiate football. It was played using improvised rules more closely resembling soccer and rugby than gridiron football. And the first game that was ever played was Princeton versus Rutgers, and Rutgers won 6-4. So yes, a very low scoring game. Only 100 people in attendance to see it. The rules were based on, at the time, the English Football Association. They have a bunch of hand-drawn stuff here. The rules for this game: grounds must be 360 feet long, 225 feet wide. Goals must be 8 paces. Each side shall have 25 players. No throwing or running with the ball. If either it's foul and the ball must then be thrown perpendicular, no holding the ball or free kicks. The ball passing beyond the limit should be kicked. A whole bunch of rules here, and they have a painting of it here. And yeah, not too much to say here because this was very primitive back in the day of college football, but the 1869 season is the one that started it. There was a rematch played about a week later at Princeton because the first game was in New Jersey, played at Rutgers, and Princeton won the rematch 8-0. But yes, conference and programs, they were both independents. Princeton was 1-1, and Rutgers was 1-1. So, starting off the very first season of college football, you have the national champions, Rutgers and Princeton. So they both have one national championship apiece, because they were both 1-1. So, but let's get into it here a little bit more. It was played on November 6th, 1869. The second game was played November 13th, 1869. Princeton was named champions by the Billingsley Report and National Championship Foundation, while college football research historian Park H. Davis named Rutgers and Princeton's co-champion. So, yeah, the two schools were originally scheduled to meet 3 times, but the third game never took place, reportedly because both officials complained about more emphasis being put on contests rather than academics, which is true because academics should always be the thing that colleges focus on, not just the game. So, yeah, the first ever season was a interesting one because there was co-national champions. Should have had a playoff back then, but, I guess that the College Football Committee wasn't thinking about that. So, yeah, they gave you 2 co-national champions. Now, moving on here to 1870. Again, the first couple of seasons are going to be very, very quick, so these videos might be quicker than most because this is early years of college football. And I want to be clear to people, Notre Dame's not around yet, Alabama's not around yet, Michigan's not around yet, Ohio State. So a lot of the teams you expect to see later on, they're not formed yet. For the early years, most of this is going to be the Ivy League just winning everything because most of the dominant teams back then were Ivy League schools, especially two. One of them we will see later on to challenge Princeton, and that will be Yale. Yes, Yale and Princeton are going to be the first two major dynasties, but we will get to them. And I'm going to see how to keep a running tally here. We're not going to do every team because eventually we're going to get to years like the 80s and the 70s, and there's going to be so many teams that have won a national title. So I'll probably just list like the top 7 teams that have won the national championship. And as it changes, we'll move them up and down a list. So let's get into 1870 here. So now there's 3 teams. They have a new team that has joined. It's a second intercollegiate season. Involved only 3 teams and 2 known games. So they took place 15 miles apart, New Brunswick and Princeton. And the new team that formed was Columbia. Yes, another Ivy League school, Columbia, would join in. So now you have 2 what will eventually become the Ivy League. And you have Rutgers. And by the way, 1869 is the only season that Rutgers has won a national championship. So they have the longest, if you want to believe in sports curses, they've won a national championship since 1869. It's coming up soon on about 200-something years since the last time Rutgers won anything. And if this is successful, by the way, we'll look at maybe doing NFL and NBA as well. But back to that. The rules of the time were based on football rules by the London Football Association. They were precursor to the modern rules, but included things to rugby. Teams scored goals by kicking a round ball between 2 goal posts. 1863 had a few more rules that any player could catch a ball that had been kicked or bounced only one time, but could not with the ball following such a catch. That player could pass the ball to another or have free kick. Just a whole bunch of stuff here. They didn't specify the size of each team, the duration of the game, or whether the player would be subject to breaks. These other matters are agreed by teams or stipulated by the home team prior to each game. So here's what they had. So they had Saturday, November 5th. Rutgers beat Columbia 6-3 on the Rutgers campus. A week later, Princeton defeated Rutgers 6-2 on the Princeton campus in a rematch of the 1869 series. Princeton was the only team of the 3 that did not suffer a defeat, and thus is able to claim to have had the first undefeated season, albeit having played 1 game. Although there would be several decades before the day of a national championship, the NCAA has recognized 3 poll selectors: Billingsley National Championship and Park H. Davis, and retroactively awarded Princeton the 1870 national championship. But they also had some controversies here, though, too. They had football was banned at Dartmouth. So Dartmouth didn't have football, and then something about Yale here. So only 3 teams participated in intercollegiate football in 1870. Football was played, as it had been for many years, with varying degree at other schools in Vermont. At Dartmouth, the faculty banned it in autumn, but reversed course in late October. On October 29th, the faculty permitted a football match to be held, for which the school furnished the balls, made the regulations, appointed an umpire. Other schools, such as Yale and Harvard, banned it outright, which is kind of funny because Yale will go on to be a dynasty. On October 31st, on Halloween, a Yale student was arrested after a group of sophomores were caught playing football on the New Haven Green. Following the arrest, a group of 200 students gathered outside the police station, and 1 student was seriously injured. So Columbia was established here, and 1870 Princeton was the team, and they were 1-0. They defeated Rutgers. Rutgers was 1-1. They beat Columbia 6-3, lost to Princeton 2-6, and Columbia doesn't have a win because Columbia didn't win a game. So if you have been keeping track so far, Princeton now has 2 national championships. and Rutgers has 1. So Princeton right now leads the national championship count 2-1. But those are the first 2 years of college football, folks. Now, the next time that I see you, it'll be 1871. Oh, wait! They didn't have football in 1871, folks. That's right, 1871. You know what? We'll cover this, though, too, really quick while we're at it. They didn't have football, which no games were played. Princeton did play a few games against the Princeton Theological Seminary team in 1871, although the Tigers considered these practices or exhibition games, and the general convention is not to count these. Only 2 college football games have been played in each of the previous seasons by 3 teams. There are accounts of a competitive game played between Virginia and Washington and Lee, but no statistics or scores are known. Because no games were played in 1871, it's the only year in which no national championship has been named retroactively or otherwise. So, sorry, they didn't have they didn't have that back then, so too bad. But yeah, so folks, we're going to go through all of these years spanning from 1869 all the way up. And eventually, too, we're going to do, maybe we can do the FCS because that starts in 78. Division 2 starts in 73 and Division 3 starts in 1973. So we can see about doing a bunch of seasons on that and expanding this out to different teams and, different seasons and all of that. But for the early years, we're going to be able to breeze through a lot of these because, well, there's not much really to talk about. But yes, those were 1869 and 1870. So Princeton is riding high with 2 national championships and Rutgers has 1. The next time that I see you, it'll be 1872. Will Princeton's run to 3 national titles happen, or will a new contender step up? But watch out, because Yale's looking out there, and I think, and I have a feeling that Yale is going to be a contender this year in 1872. But that will do it for this episode of College Football Flashback, 1869 and 1870, along with 1871, which nothing happened. Thank you for joining me here live on Sports Talk Live here on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Twitch channel as well, Sports Talk Live. We're getting that back going again. I'm excited about that, being back on Twitch and streaming again. Hopefully we can continue to grow the community here. I have 31 subscribers. I know not a lot, but I hope to someday get to 100, then 200, 300, and I hope that eventually these videos will gain a lot of support and a lot of nice comments from people, and people will want to see this stuff. And as we go through, they're going to get more in depth, and we're going to be able to cover a lot more stuff. But yeah, I hope that there will be an audience for this because I don't see many channels doing a lot of college stuff like this. So thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great night, and I will see you very, very soon, hopefully tomorrow. But who knows, I might be back with a video later on the 1872 season. Just have to wait and see. Thanks, everyone.